What's up, everyone? We've got an awesome episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Show. The sun is shining, even though it's midnight. It's a hot day, and the best guest ever is here. Introduce yourself, please, bro.
Hey, man. Thank you so much. My name is Top Deck TJ, for y'all that don't know. If you do know, glad to see y'all on this video, because I really want my boys to come out and shine. I really want to see them do well, and, I grew off of the Cali effect. Like, that's my boy.
Loving it. Yeah, so a while back, if for those of you who've been watching the show for a while, we had Cali on a while back, and he put us onto Top Deck TJ, and yeah, I mean, sometimes, look, let me be honest, sometimes when people are like, oh, subscribe to my friend's channel and stuff, it's like, you know, when you're like, yeah, but then you don't really sub because it's like, the content's not really hitting. Yeah. But I think the thing genuinely for me is like, as soon as I saw the podcast of you guys, I watch podcasts every single time you guys do an episode, and like your content is so good. You guys got such a good rapport, and your channel as well, I think is it's on a pretty nice rise, isn't it? You've been popping up, which is good as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I gotta give it all to my boy Cali, like really like helping him grow throughout the years, and then him just like pushing me now is kind of like, all right, man, I gotta take that opportunity. Like, you know, I can't not take it.
Oh, loving it. So, if you don't mind, why don't you give us a bit of introduction into you yourself, kind of your journey through Yu-Gi-Oh! And starting a YouTube channel and all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as a kid, you know, I grew up watching the show, like, here and there. I was very, very young when it came out. I was born in 98, so, like, you know, like, I was an infant when it came out, but, like, when you hit, like, 4 or 5, you start to remember things. You're starting to, like, get interested in stuff. It just so happened my stepbrother played the game, so, like, we played together growing up. And then I hit about middle school after I had quit, probably in elementary sometime, and some of my friends were playing, so I was like, all right, I gotta hop back in. So from there, I hopped in, and a couple years later, I met Cali, and then pretty much like it just skyrocketed from there. We were going to locals, we go to worlds, make videos, you know, like just do everything possible. We had one of the best locals in Vegas, Game World. If you know about it, you know it was great, and you know the IRS got to it fast. But like, if you wouldn't be, but yeah, from there I quit until like after high school, about 2015 is when I quit initially, and I came back like 2-3 years ago.
Okay, wow. So, sorry, I'll let you go then.
No, I was gonna say, so you came back in during like the COVID boom, right?
Yeah, I was making videos with Cali. I wasn't like playing competitively, but I came back and made videos with Cali. And then I'd say if we're talking competitively, I came back about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago.
Okay, so not to cut you off, perhaps, but I did just want to ask, 'cause obviously, like, the Cali effect being such a close friend of yours, do you think like being around him has rubbed off in terms of you wanting to, you know, get back into the game and like pushing yourself to be as good of a player as you can be? And again, I suppose the same thing with the YouTube, really, or was it something that you had in mind anyway?
Yeah, it would it's honestly both. Like, so funny enough, I went through like a partying stage, which total, you know, wild side of me. And so like coming back, I was playing Master Duel for a bit when that had dropped. I was already making videos with Cali, and I already had such a love for Yu-Gi-Oh! Anyways. Like, I never stopped keeping up with it. I just stopped playing. And so in that, it just was so easy to come back because I already had so much knowledge, and like I had access to anything I wanted from Cali because he was willing to just be like, here, like, take it and go do what you want to do. You know, and so like it was just that easy. And then he basically did the same thing with my YouTube channel. He was like, go start that. That was all him, man.
So in terms of your YouTube channel itself and kind of I would say your growth, what's it been like? Because I'd say for a lot of people on YouTube, I think you have to almost have a different strategy for someone like you versus a lot of people. So if I use myself, for example, I've been doing it for about a year. I haven't got a huge amount of fans, but it's like the people I have, they've known me, they've had time to get to know me. With your content, I feel almost like you've had to come in and you need to grab people straight away because you're exposed to such a big audience, and you have, it seems as though, successfully done that. So what's it been like having that journey and kind of almost being thrust in there at the deep end, but still making it?
Anxiety filled. You know, like it feels like there's a lot on your shoulders, right? But like my best advice to anybody who's in that position, because I do realize I'm one of the few, like it's not often that you have that big success on somewhere else and you're able to just branch off. Like it doesn't happen for everybody, right? It is like very invigorating. Like, you know, like you just really want to like grab it. You want to go. Like, you know, no matter how nerve wracking it is, it's kind of like it's like a rush because you know that you have such a high standard to uphold that you like want to make sure you do it right. So, my best advice is like just for everybody else, be consistent and just like put out stuff that you love. Don't put out what people are telling you to put out. Do what you love, man. Because I had to learn that one the hard way too with Callie. We just started putting out stuff we did not like.
I was gonna ask, how do you go about like creating your content? Because obviously Callie's like a big name out there, and he's got his own like method of pushing out content. So how do you go about like creating yours or generating ideas for like your style of like unique content? Or do you sit down and kind of like storyboard with Callie and just like discuss ideas, or how do you go about it?
All the time, man. Like that is one of my biggest like. I don't want to call him like an encyclopedia at this point, you know, because like he's like the entire story of how to do it, right? Like he's laid everything out for me because he's already done it. So like a lot of times I'll just go and sit down with him. I'm like, hey man, I'm struggling here. Like what can I do right now? What kind of content can I create? Right? I've done that. You know, and then like with the podcast, sometimes like I'll just be sitting there, I'm like, I should do this, and then like I run home and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do this. Like, you know, sometimes it just come to you, right? But like he is definitely one of the biggest influences in my content, and you can kind of see it because like, you know, a lot of my content I create with him already. Like whether it's my deck profiles, I went to an event with him. Like if I'm doing podcast, he's on the podcast, you know. So like he's a huge influence, but I do my best to try to keep it me, you know. And that can be hard because, you know, you watch a lot of people. You watch like Team Sam, Farfa, you know, Jesse Cotton, like all these big names, and you're like, I want to do it like that, but you can't. You got to be unique, you know.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a really, really strong point. But guys, what we're gonna do is we're gonna run into our next topic, which is going to be German nationals. So, look, German nationals, very interesting event. But I think that the thing that we're going to focus on mainly, I'd say, is the finals. So, for those of you guys who didn't watch the finals, it was a spectacular game. I think game 3 was about an hour long. Just a really high effort. so essentially, Dinka Bui was on Labyrinth. Amazing player. And one thing I would say as well is that Dinka Bui, I don't know if this is his first. Is this his first nationals win?
I think maybe
because I feel like he's won before, but I think he hasn't won nationals. If I'm not, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
He might be a YCF champion. And he might be a first-time national.
Yeah, so it's like really congrats to him. He did such a good job to take it. But he was playing Labyrinth. He was against, I can't remember the other guy's name, but he was on Sprite. Sprite, Castira. I don't know why I said Sprite.
Yeah.
And in the finals, going into game 3, Dinka luckily enough drew Eradicate Epidemic Virus and ripped the Castira's player's hand completely wide open. So he hit 5 spells and then with one of the Labyrinth ladies, I don't know, popped the last Fenrir out of his hand, and it was it was ridiculous. And it's one of those times, well, funnily enough, like with Labyrinth, sometimes it's like, they can just like do that stupid combo and like set from deck. But what I think was so peak about this was he had it already. He opened everything. He literally opened the Ariana. then he opened the Eradicate. There was literally nothing his opponent could do. His opponent didn't even look mad about it. He was just like laughing. Like first he Cyclone to kind of, I think, give him a bit of a scare, like, oh, maybe I can play. Then he just like slowly puts the cards on the board. But what do we think, guys? That final, it was pretty hilarious, to be honest, wasn't it?
I think in terms of just off the back of what you said about the opponent, I'm sorry, I don't know the person's name.
Carry on.
Yeah, we'll pull it up. Yeah, in terms of them like taking it like, really well, because I know that a lot of people in that scenario would have been so gutted. But he seemed obviously must have been disappointed, but it seemed like he took it really well. Like he was like, you know, this is just
the game.
Like this isn't I got sacked in it. It is what it is. It was hilarious to watch. I was watching it on the stream and I remembered it like it was gas. I'm not gonna lie, it was gas.
Funny enough, I woke up at like 4 in the morning or whatever time it was, and I was already just running the live stream already. So like I wake up to finals, right? And I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm here for an hour now, randomly, like whatever time o'clock in the morning. And I just see this hand loop of 6, and I'm like, I'm going back to bed. Fuck this. Like, I can't Yu-Gi-Oh today. Like, this is, oh man. But no, you're right. He looked upset, but he took it like a champ. And I mean, when you're getting second place at nationals, like, I probably would have done the same thing. I would have just extended my hand and laughed and been like, you know what, it is, man. Like, you had it. Like, you win, and I get to be in the same limelight as you. Like,
very true.
Boom.
Very true. And I think one of the things as well, I'm so sorry I cut you off, Jimothy. I was going to say, one of the things as well, which is interesting as well, is if you look at the pricing as well, there's not a huge difference between first and second. Like, second place gets a Switch, first place gets free accommodation. In terms of money, it's about the same anyway. So, but yeah, sorry, carry on, Jimothy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think for me the biggest thing is the aftermath of it, about it. So I've been sneakily like involving myself on Twitter, and people are going absolutely crazy. Like, they're like, ban Eradicator virus is a broken card, should never have existed in the first place. And then other people are like, oh, he got lucky. It was like a freak of nature kind of thing. And I like, it's just the absolute reaction to exactly how it all unfolded, it's like it's blowing people's mind, and it brings up a bit of a debate on like where we go with Eradicator. Is it a problem? Is it not a problem?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think it's a problem, but this is also the deck that like turbos it out and then activates Coup Clock to activate it instantly. So like, you know, I mean, maybe in that sense, but like, if you got it, you got it, right? Like, I don't think it's happening every single game. You know, it's not like they can activate Shiren or any tier element and guarantee into a kick Halos. Like, they have to get it off.
Yeah, like, especially with regards to that, like, he actually hard opened it. If he had tried to set from deck, it wouldn't have worked that game because his opponent had the Cyclone to stop Lady. So it's like, in that situation, Anti-Spell would have done the exact same thing, just a little bit slower. So it's like, I agree. I really think the problem is, and I don't actually think Labyrinth is amazing right now, actually. I think Labyrinth is good, but I think after losing Gamma, it's actually a lot weaker. I think the problem, though, definitely is more the ability to tutor any card and then use it the same turn, but that's not even what happened here. It's just...
I do think that being able to set any normal trap from deck is busted. Like, it doesn't even have the same sort of caveat as a card like Trap Trick does. Like, you have to hard open it, you get locked into only activating one trap, like whatever else. Like, this is an in-archetype searchable monster, like, that just lets you set any. And if we ban Eradicator, it will turn into D-Barrier, it will turn into whatever else. Do you get what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
I think it's a symptom of the game though, because if Labyrinth couldn't do that, then how is it going to compete with some of the decks that are out there?
Yeah,
like,
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Exactly. And I think that even Cafeteria itself, like, Arise Art's probably looking at your back row with free materials and laughing to himself because one of them are getting banished. Do you know what I mean? And if you've just set it, it's like, all right, I'm just going to banish that, what you've just set, because it's going to hurt me. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know what to do to remedy that, if you got what I mean.
Yeah, and it's like... sorry, you go first then.
Nah, what I was going to say is, let's not forget, Eradicator's been here in the game for a long time. People were, in Dragon Ruler format, they were hard overlaying a Big Eye and setting it, like, to just wipe out spellbooks. Like, this is a card that's not new. Like, all the viruses, like, there's a reason they see fringe plays. Like, do you get what I mean?
Yeah, and I think the existence of cards like Eradicate is actually necessary for game health. It sounds really silly, but you need cards that, in a game with distinct typings, it's good to have cards that say, I destroy this thing. Like, I don't think that's a bad thing because it promotes deck diversity. It means that if you get to a format where spells are too... In fact, no, I'm always going to go back to this example because I think it's better. And it's the same reason why I don't think D-Barrier should be banned. When we had branded Sword Soul format, D-Barrier and Super Ancient Organism both got really strong as answers to that, and I think that's fair. So it's like, for the same reason I don't think Eradicate should be hit, because even though it does say spells and traps, it means that if we get to a point where, like now, where power spells are insane, then now you have a power play that's like, I can just get rid of all those spells, so you can't just rely on those. And it's just unfortunate that he happened to open a hand with five spell cards. It just happens like that sometimes.
Yeah, that's... Yeah. Makes for an interesting meme though. I've been seeing that all weekend. Just a handshake, like
oh man,
all over Twitter. Just someone's hand, each for a handshake. So.
Yeah.
Spoils. Have you guys seen the new Spider-Verse movie?
I haven't yet, but I don't mind spoilers.
No. Never mind. Never mind. Because it's a great meme, but if you haven't seen it, I don't want to do that.
Okay, fair enough.
We'll talk after.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting you bring up Twitter, Jimothy, because there's been quite a bit of discourse about this recently, especially over the last 24 hours. And obscurely, it's a Labyrinth against not even a deck that was in the final. Fabs, do you want to sort of like tee this up for everyone?
Yeah, I can't lie. Yeah, this has been one of the funniest like discussions I've seen on Twitter in a while. Now, I'm not usually a Twitter person. I'll be honest. Like I don't use Twitter. I use it exclusively for my channel. But I was on Facebook and I saw someone post what someone wrote. So what it seemed to have started from is that Galzo, shout out to him. He was on the podcast last episode. Basically, made a post saying that I think he said that Labyrinth should be that Lady Labyrinth should be banned. I think was what he was saying on his post. Now, strong take. A lot of people didn't agree with that. To start off with that take, I'd say a lot of people didn't seem to agree with that. But then he progressed to talking a little bit about kind of what his reasoning for that was, and a lot of people pointed out that Branded also does something a little bit obnoxious. There's this little thing called the gimmick puppet lock that Branded does that they still do now. And so in response, he had like 7 posts talking about kind of his reasoning and stuff. And then Stevie Blunder said, Branded players will literally type an essay about why a katana wielding femcel that can search compulse should be banned, but their searchable vanity's emptiness wasn't that bad. So that was Stevie Blunder's first salvo. And then Galzo responded, banned players will literally post anything to make sure people still remember who they are. Now when I saw that already, my heart was really beating. I was like, whoa. But guys, that's not where it ends. I don't know who this person is. Maybe you guys do. He's called @Thoughtlessness on Twitter. Do you guys know who he is?
No, I think he's just a Twitter user. If he has a channel, or if they have a channel, I apologise. But yeah. I've not heard of the channel. Yeah, so
I'm not familiar with this person, but this person made a comment. I'm just trying to go down to it now. It's in their responses, but their comment was I'll just read it for you guys. He said, calling content creators irrelevant when your claim to fame is piloting a floodgate deck through a 100-person event. That's what he said in response to Guns. Look, guys, when I saw that, there's this meme of like, I think there's like a black girl with a hand over her mouth like this, and that was literally me. That was literally me. I was like, man, what's going on?
Before I get into any points that I'm gonna make, I want to clarify in it. Like, Galzo's a very nice guy. We had a very good podcast with him. Like, I have got no bad experience with him whatsoever.
Yeah, I was offended for him. This was.
But let's break this down in it because this gets deep.
Yeah. So what? So what do we think, guys? Well, let's start off right at the beginning in terms of Branded versus Labyrinth. And one thing I'll say as a Branded player is playing against Labyrinth is more frustrating than Branded, but losing against Branded for me personally is usually more frustrating than losing against Labyrinth. That's how I would see it. Like, when I get expulsion locked out of the game, that's just irritating. It's like, oh, flip's sake, like, I just lost. I just didn't have the out. Yeah, whereas Labyrinth, a lot of the times, it's like, I feel like I have a bit of a chance. Even though I'm annoyed, I don't want to play against a Labyrinth player ever.
Yeah, I get that. I feel as both are both frustrating. I'm nor a Lab or a Branded player. I am a Punk Gold Pride player, right?
Oh my gosh.
Like, I am rogue as they come, right? Like, it doesn't get any worse, right? Losing to either one is super frustrating because it's just like I have no way to outplay either of them unless I just open everything. And that is almost not guaranteed because that's like 4 board breakers and then like an E-Telly and like a Captain Carry or something, right? Like full combo. Yeah. But I don't feel as if that Galzo's take is probably correct, but definitely got to give the man a chance to voice his opinion, you know, like you can't just take that face value from the initial 240 character Twitter post that he can make, right? Because obviously, like you said, he made like 7 more comments, which is an essay. Unfortunately, Stevie's kind of right on the essay part, but like, you know, I don't think it's right to also come at the man wild, especially when somebody's banned and can't really do much either. Yeah. But they are in their own lane, and they are definitely people that I don't entirely interact with, essentially, not on because different reasons. I just don't know them at all. But I'm like J. Cole. I stay out of that drama. I don't. That's for them.
Love it.
Shout out J. Cole.
Yeah. I also quickly want to point out as well, by the way, Branded is not Floodgate deck. I feel like that's calling a branded a Floodgate deck is like, I don't know. It's almost like calling like Kashtira a Floodgate deck. Like that's like one facet of it. I wouldn't call Kashtira a Floodgate deck either though. It's like it's a deck that has a Floodgate in it that is a part of its win condition, but I wouldn't say it's like
it doesn't live or die by it.
Yeah, like if
Kashtira go as far as to say it's all Floodgate, because if you think about it, like it's hard to interact with the deck, even if they just have 5 Kashtiras on board, right?
Yeah,
that's a look at the top 5 of your deck. That's a look at your extra deck. That's a banish off of your field. You know, like that's a lot of interaction. Let alone you look at Shangri-Ira, that's a Floodgate on its own, locking out your zones because it can banish. Kashtira Riseheart is literally just macro reprinted in a monster.
Would you still call that a flood? Like I don't know. Maybe in my head, when I think of a Floodgate deck, I think of like normal summon expectable to set 5 Floodgates pass. Do you get it? That's what I think of when I think. I don't really feel like. I get it. I do agree. I guess like Shangri-Ira is actually a Floodgate as well. I'd forgotten about that.
My best examples are Majesty's Fiend, Vanity's Fiends. You know, like these walking monsters that are literal floodgates.
Do we think of those as the same though? For example, so like Kashtira playing. Really?
If you're looking at a Riseheart, because that's a walking macrocosmos. That's like a floodgate,
it is,
right?
Right. It is literally a floodgate.
Locking out zones is kind of like a floodgate, if not worse. Like, maybe the monsters on their own, I could see the debate, but at least with those two, those are walking floodgates.
I think
I can see with a Riseheart because he's shutting out like a mechanic of the game. Your graveyard is kind of integral to how Yu-Gi-Oh's played at the moment.
Yeah.
And when you just can't access it, you feel bad. Yeah. You start looking at birds with a different light. Do you know what I mean?
I think I definitely agree that it's a floodgate and it has floodgates in it. I don't think I can agree that it's a floodgate deck. I think that's where my and then stretching that to branded as well. It's like it's got a floodgate in it.
Dot deck, it's kind of hard. You have to rely on like Pot of Prosperity and Theosis. You're kind of down bad.
True.
Yeah, I think branded used to be it used to be like a floodgate deck was like the win condition, like with expulsion. But you have some people, some people aren't even playing the gimmick puppet lock. Like, I don't disagree with it, but I'm not sure I fully agree with it. I just think I'm just done with branded. I try to think about it as little as possible in my day-to-day life. So.
I mean, can we do the same with Sword Soul? They've been around just as long, man. Like, I'm tired of seeing 3-year-old decks.
I was having a conversation with someone earlier today, actually. Sword Soul is just BA for Zoomers. Like, Chainlink 1 Dante, target Seer, Chainlink 2 Seer, target Dante is just the same as Chainlink 1 Chizo, Chainlink 2 Mulligan.
That hurts because I say windups are the original BA, and that just hurts, man. Like,
I didn't play when windups were about TJ, my bad.
Oh, man. That's my favorite format, my favorite deck. I love him. Just saying go.
Yeah, but we're definitely in an interesting format. Funnily enough, though, would we point to Labyrinth and like I wouldn't even point to those being the problems with this format at the moment. For example, like when I think of the thing that really gets, I've been saying this a while. No one believes me. Normal Summon Beaver is ridiculous, guys. Genuinely, with no gamma in the format, that card is absolutely Sprite. It hurts my heart, bro. When they normal summon Beaver and then go into Gigantic, so I can't even nib them. It's like, flip sake. Like that deck, I think that's a bigger problem. Like I'd rather face down. Nah, I'm lying. I wouldn't. But still, I'm not a fan of normal summon Beaver. I think that's a problem right now, and Runic as well. I think Runic's stupid. But yeah,
I like Runic. I like control decks.
Oh no!
But I played Nataria Runic like last format anyways, and I was like right off the cusp of topping for my invite because a Sprite player decides to go third summon Gigantic, summon Resonator, and target the Gigantic with 3,200 on it. And I'm just like, dog, like seriously? I'll see you at locals and we can go out back. Like,
yeah. Funnily enough, I'm surprised actually that Runic hasn't been more dominant. I thought we would see after the ban list, and this kind of goes into a topic that Jimothy mentioned, which is that I thought after the ban list we would see like Runic really dominate, but it still seems like Kashtira is the best deck, surprisingly. And I think Sprite's the best deck, but just not enough people are playing it. But yeah, it seems like Runic's not the best deck, and it's just not being able to deal with it.
I think the thing with Runic is though, like it really relies on the spell at the graveyard. Kashtira is still one of the best decks.
Yeah.
People are still playing D-Shifter. Labyrinth is a myth, like EEV. Like, okay, I guess I lose. Yeah, I don't know. I think Runic's just like as a pure deck or like the Naturia variant. I just don't think it's. I think it's still good. I just don't think this is the right format for it. I think people are playing it like the right way and like with sprite engines and like for higher engines and things like that. Because the 18 instant fusions is pretty bonkers. But yeah. But it's like you say though, it's a risky time to be wanting to play a lot of spells because even if we don't factor in EEV, you have anti-spell and you have a lot of back row removal. Like people are pivoting back to putting Harpy's Feather Duster in the main. I've noticed, which can just kind of it's sometimes a well-timed Duster or like a well-timed Cyclone can just kill you.
That's true. Even a Dogmatica player topped French Nationals, and he had 6 ways to get to Secret Village in his side deck. And he was like, he did that for Runic. So it's like free Secret Village, set rotation, Metaverse, Terraforming, and it was like, so that's a good point to be honest.
Yeah.
I think people are also looking at like Kashtira and noticing that they're still kind of looming. And I'll be honest, I think Kashtira is somewhat floodgating the potential of some of the other decks that are out there because it just says no to the graveyard and it's so imposing, like. And I think because of that, people are a little bit hesitant to kind of like branch out. Yeah. Just because they're not going to access their graveyard, or they're just going to get hit with shift during standby phase and then just flip the table. So.
Kashtira right now is doing what Thunder Dragon did in Eternal format. Where Thunder Dragon, if you remember, in Eternal format, Invoked basically fell off just because of Thunder Dragon. Because like you just can't play it, and it's like it was the same with a lot of searching decks. Then Thunder Dragon got banned, and suddenly there was a flood of a couple of these ultra searching decks, which is one of the reasons, by the way, I think Thunder Dragon Colossus needs to come back. There's too much searching in Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah, that's my hot take, guys. I want it back.
I'd like a lot.
But yeah, Kashtira is doing a similar thing now where it's like if your deck is, I mean, even if you look at again Dogmatica, that's why I was a bit skeptical when I saw the guy top. I was like, what do you do if they like put a Rise Heart open and you open like Nadir Servant? Like, what do? You just kind of lose. Like, you can't activate your card.
Just peek out it.
Yeah, so it is. I do agree. It is really shutting out a lot of decks of the format, which is a shame.
Yeah, I think the other thing that we're not looking at is Super Heavy Samurai was summoning Spell Canceller before the ban list, which is what really knocked off Runic. Because Spell Canceller, you can't activate anything. Like, it's literally another basically anti-spell fragrance, but you don't get the extra turn. Like, you just can't activate, right? And now that Super Heavy Samurai is a 2-card combo and loses in it really hard, and Ash and Droll and everything in the format, right? It's not as easy to make this combo. So like people are starting to come back and be like, all right, Runic is kind of there, right? You're seeing it Rogue. Like we see Joshua Schmidt topping for higher Runic at German Nationals. Yeah. If I remember correctly, he got top 16, right? So like, it's doing great show out, but it's slowly being integrated back. What Kashtira is that big factor still. Like, we're in a format where Yu-Gi-Oh is very dull because the mechanics aren't the best, but like the people that love playing Yu-Gi-Oh are still here, right? So like we're just trying to get through this at this point.
The format is due a shake-up though. New set.
Yeah. I thought they were gonna do the ban list was a bit weird because it was, even though it was a pretty big one, it didn't kill the format as much as I expected, which says to me I would almost guaranteed expect after the Megatins to get like a nuke, because if you look at it, we had Syac release, they didn't really do much. The ban list didn't do much, and they killed Syac decks anyway. We're gonna have Duelist Nexus, then I think they're gonna reprint all of the good decks, and then after the Megatins, yeah, bro, better sell your Sprite Core, bro. That Sprite Blue will go to 0 or something. That card's getting wrecked. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
It's a bit of a weird one, man. Because I hear what you're saying about the ban list, because the ban list was big, but it also felt like it just didn't do anything. Does anyone else get that, or is it just me?
Yeah.
I feel like it was just a step in the right direction for the format, not a permanent solution, It was to make sure that like viability was there and different decks could play. So like, it was just kind of like here's a push. Maybe it's not the best thing, but it's not the worst thing either.
it's weird because I think it actually did address some things that, like, the biggest thing for me was like little things like the gimmick puppet. The gimmick puppet look before was so busted because genuinely it's like you couldn't stop it. That being stopped was nice. And then also Kashtira before didn't lose to board breakers. So it's like with Kashtira, because of Diablosis, it's like it doesn't matter if you have Dark Ruler or Evenly. They've already bombed half your deck and locked half your zones. Whereas now they actually, I would say Kashtira's going first board is actually pathetic now if you don't lose to Banishing. So it's like there's that. But yeah, I agree. It didn't.
It felt more like a. It just felt like a nerf in it.
Like a slight hit, yeah. And then Sprite sitting pretty. With two
Yeah, pretty nice.
What the fuck was that, man? Started to 2. Ooh, Runic Fountain to 2.
I think it's done by design though, because yeah, I think it's done by design though, because they absolutely obliterated Telements and people were losing their minds because they spent all that money on their core. So I think Konami kind of realized that and thought, let's just dial it back a little bit and just kind of like give them a little tap, and then next ban list we just go in with the sledgehammer and just obliterate everything, because people were losing their minds when they found out Ikalas was gone, all the main Telements to 1. They was just like, I've spent so much money on this deck and now I can't play. I'm never playing Yu-Gi-Oh again. Yeah. And then they're here with their Kashtira decks.
Meanwhile, Pearly and Super Every Samurai players crying right now. They got ultra-violated, man.
Pearly's so expensive. It's $135 just for the main 3 cards.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. Like...
To be fair, the deck is going to be better, right? In if they get a lot better in Duelist Nexus. Yeah, Rescue Ace will be best deck though, so yeah, that's fine, guys. I think that's what we should all be playing.
I think I
gotta go. Guys. So for the last topic, we are going to do Am I the Arsehole? So TJ, how familiar are you with the subreddit Am I the Arsehole?
Ooh, so okay. I watch this channel called Smosh. I don't know if you guys know of them or if anyone watching does.
Big up Smosh, the OGs.
They do that too. They do the Am I an Asshole or like the Bad Boyfriend ones or the like My Life is a Problem kind of thing. So I'm very familiar.
Okay, loving it. So this one is quite it's not a super serious one because I thought why not, but it is. Am I the asshole for humiliating my fat cousin? So I thought this would be a good one to go into. Right, so
I got a special place in hell.
Yeah, I think this one is interesting though. I think when we read it, we'll see. So I have a cousin. So I'm an 18-year-old guy. I have a cousin who's a 20-year-old guy who's on the chubbier side, about 200 pounds, 6 foot. That's of course not morbidly obese or anything, but noticeably heavy, in that he takes after my dad's side, who tends to be heavyset. I take more after my mum, who's quite slim, and when I stopped growing at 16, I was 5'10", 135 pounds, blah, blah, I'm slim and I'm cut, that's what they're saying. My family were visiting him and his sister and his parents as I'm out of school. I was discussing sports with his sister, and he jumps into the conversation by laughing and asking what I know about athletics when I'm stick thin and I look weak. This annoyed me because this isn't the first time he's brought up my weight. He's done so mostly before I gained some muscle, so the idea that he was still calling me skinny annoyed me. So I retorted that everybody must look skinny to a guy his size, and that it's funny he says I look weak and small because despite how much he weighs, I could easily bench press him, and I guarantee he wouldn't be able to bench press small, tiny, little me. So who's really weak? He got upset and complained to his parents about me, who are now demanding that I apologise to him for bullying and humiliating him. I refuse to. Am I the asshole?
They said 18 and 20?
Yeah. 18 and 20.
Homeboy in the right. I hate to say it, but like, he was like, the cousin was already talking bad about him. Like, you gotta expect a shot back, man.
Definitely. One thing I would say as well is that when you're what's that saying? It's that glass houses. People live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones or whatever. Yeah, like if I was insecure, like let's say for example, like I was insecure. I'm not insecure about my hairline because as you can see, it's solid. But if I was insecure about my hairline, like that would be the last thing I'd ever come for. I wouldn't even come for someone's facial area just because I'd be scared they could clap back and then I'd be offended. So yeah, I think if you know you're a bit bigger, like that's not massive. 200 pounds 6 foot, that's not massive, especially because you're 6 foot. But still, like I wouldn't come for someone's size.
I was gonna say because I'm like one like 87, like 190. I'm not that overweight either. Like, if I gained another 10 pounds, noticeable maybe, but like, it's not that bad, man.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I grew up in a family. I'm the youngest of 4 boys, and that kind of like talk is just normal in my household. So
yeah.
Oh, yeah. You didn't think you were getting beat up, huh? Like, it's just...
Well, they tried until I grew up. But yeah, like he has to take that. He's not an arsehole for that, but him dishing it out and like giving it back to the guy that gave it him, that's just normal. Like,
that's what happens, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't be making comments and expect no comeback and just sitting there. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, 100%. He has to take that. He has to hold it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like, I mean, obviously like you're 18 and 20 and you're having banter, like, so you ain't gonna think about stuff like this. But I don't think you should be making comments about like someone's body anyway, like whether they're like overweight, underweight, whatever. Like, it's a bit deep, but you kids in it, like you're gonna just go at each other because that's just what you do. But yeah, like he started it, innit? Like, you perfectly within your right too. Like the guy who's 200 pounds sounds like a bitch.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, yeah, it didn't really work out.
Fuck it, innit? Like the guy was skinny. Like, he didn't want to be skinny. Go on.
Practice. What if he said it to you? What would you say?
What? I'd be like, well, that's cool, and you probably could bench press me. Like, what do you want? A medal?
Don't think I'd care. Like, I feel like I've gotten a bit thick around the belly as I've grown up, and I can't lie. I feel like weight is like one of the things that I don't care. I'm married. Like, my wife doesn't care, so just your opinion about my weight just doesn't matter that much to me. But I know when I was 18 or 20, it might have offended me more.
Yeah. Well, you're still like very young. Your mind isn't like fully matured there yet. Like, I talk about it on my podcast all the time. Like, I'm always an advocate. Like, as you grow, your mind grows. But like,
100%.
When you're young, look at people that are older and like that give you that mentality and learn from that. Because otherwise, you're not gonna learn.
100%.
Callie gave me thick skin. My stepdad gave me thick skin. My household gave me thick skin. Like, you could catch me on any of Callie's streams, and if I'm there, I will spit something at him and he'll roast me for 20 more minutes. That is 20 minutes of the stream, right? But that's just how it is. Like, next thing you know, he's popping up memes of Randall from Recess and stuff, and I'm just like, all right, I gotta go. Like, but you can't dish something out without like having it taken back, So
100%. I mean, if they don't like each other anyway and they're just having an argument, then that's another thing. They're just going at each other for whatever's sake. But
I mean, don't dish. Just go outside. Fight.
Yeah.
Throw some fists real quick.
Yeah, just I don't know, man. He sounds like a fucking little bitch.
Sounds like he sits in that house all day long.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Alright, guys. On that lovely note. Oh, sorry, Dan. I'll let you finish your final thought.
I'm backing the big guy in it. I'm hold strong, my thick brother.
Good time you play rogue.
Oh gosh. Alright, guys, on that lovely note, we're going to be closing off this episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Show. Thank you all so much for watching. TJ, have you got any shout-outs, anything you want to say before we end the show?
Yeah, man. Again, if you guys are here for mine or Callie's channel, please make sure you guys subscribe to these guys, because like they're doing a fantastic job. They're killing it. They're getting great guests on here. They're getting you guys great information, and they're making it entertaining. Like, I genuinely did not even feel like this was like however long it has been, it was made to talk to you guys because you guys are just amazing people. Keep it up, and make sure you guys subscribe to me, these guys, and Callie.
Awesome, loving it. Thanks so much, DJ. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.